We're here at the LeadersIn Tech Summit at London Tech Week 2019, and I'm now speaking to James Cannings, co-founder of MMT Digital. Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So given how hard it is to drive innovation at scale, what advice would you give to established or legacy businesses who are looking to create a culture of innovation?
So, yeah, I mean, I think the answer is a little bit in the question. It's about a culture of innovation. So innovation at scale, to begin with, for a legacy business is not about, blockchain and AI and ML and the buzzwords. It's about creating that culture of innovation within your engineering team, so that people have permission to try things, to come up with ideas. Some of the biggest innovative pieces we've done with clients like Vodafone and Compare the Market recently have been innovative ideas. There could be small things that have come up from developers who understand the vision for the business and for the technology platforms, but have been empowered to make those suggestions. So it has to be supported by a top-down vision, particularly if you're talking about customer-facing platforms. It can just be innovative ideas that enable you to get solutions, products, features out to market more quickly. Those can be quite technical things, but until you've kind of got that culture, it's best not to think of innovation as a thing you do, in a small bucket, because ultimately, if it takes you 6 months to get something innovative out to market, what's the point? So until you've got that fluid, flexible architecture, there's no point, and that comes from having an innovation culture within your engineering team.
And does the prevalence of legacy technologies inhibit these companies from delivering their digital transformation strategies?
It doesn't. I think if it did, it would mean that no large companies could do digital transformation. It's part of all big companies. They've all got large technical debt. Even startups ultimately become 10 years old and end up with legacy technology and debt. But there are things you can do, and it's really just about chipping away at it, having a vision, and each week, each month, trying to make your architecture and your culture 1% better than it was last week. And if you can just keep doing that, then at the end of the year, you'll have taken huge strides. So again, an easy kind of common place to start with a custom-facing platform is going to be, can we decouple from our technical, our legacy platforms? Can we start to build lightweight, rapid front ends? That might mean taking away some of the toys from a marketing department, but don't use the big monolithic platforms to render all of that customer-facing features. Start to build smart, rapid, lightweight front ends, intelligent bits of middleware that hide the legacy debt in the background, and that's a great place to start. And then just keep chipping away at it.
So you and your company are strong proponents of Agile. How do you think companies can change their culture from not just doing Agile to being Agile?
That is an excellent question. Broadly, I usually answer that in 3 parts. I mean, Agile is in danger of kind of becoming a bit of a dirty word in the IT community, kind of getting blamed for things, because as you say, everybody is kind of doing Agile, implementing Scrum or scaled Agile frameworks, and often it's not working very well. We usually assess and measure how companies are doing it in 3 areas. So down at the bottom, you've got to have high-performing Agile teams with a really great culture. So that's people that know what they're doing, a great team culture, really strong governance, who really know how to do Agile well. Because if you scale something that isn't working well, it goes wrong exponentially. So some of the problems we see are just companies doing it at scale, and it's going wrong right down at the team level. In the middle, there's a technology piece. That's back to chipping away at that complex legacy debt, having a vision for it, moving away from monolithic architectures. We're seeing more and more companies starting to use SaaS-based solutions, content as a service. We're doing lots more with platforms like Contentful, so headless content management systems, as opposed to the big monolithic platforms, because it enables that fluid, flexible architecture that enables you to deploy rapidly to a live environment, not taking months to get there. So there's a technology piece. And then at the top, the third piece is essentially how you scale it, what processes are you going to use for that. But then there are 2 kind of huge parts that companies get wrong. One is your value stream mapping. and really how are you restructuring almost your organization around your value streams or your customers. So there's an organizational structure and a cultural piece, and if you come to enough events like this, you'll hear the conversation end up going back to culture and people and organizational structure. I think that's one of the bits that's really hard to do.
So companies are continually looking for more and more ways to be flexible in their delivery of their digital transformation strategies. And so models like in-housing, co-locating are becoming more and more common. What's your experience of these models?
We've kind of seen them all. We've been around for 20 years. We've worked remotely on traditional projects, remotely on agile projects. We have large engineering teams on site with multiple clients. It really comes down to having the flexibility and a hybrid model. So essentially what you really need to do is get the best talent you can on that project team or on that work stream. In theory, co-locating is the best way to work, and we try and co-locate with clients as much as we can, either permanently or part-time. The reality is that although that's good in theory, in practice, remote teams or partially remote teams will outperform co-located teams, not because that's a better way of working, but just because it enables them to cast the net wider and ultimately get better access to a wider pool of talent. So I think it's just about being able to work in both ways, having as much co-location and on-site as you can within your company and within the companies that you work with, your suppliers, your agencies, but enabling remote working. And you have to work harder then at the cultural piece, lots of video calls, lots of trying to meet up regularly anyway, socializing, that side of things you just work away a little harder at.
Great, well I'm sure that a lot of that is very useful advice for a lot of companies attending LeadersIn Tech Summit today. So thank you very much for taking the time to share your insights.
Thank you.